What's up everyone, my name is Josh and this is Josh Unboxed and welcome back to another video. And today I want to piggyback off of a video that I did a while ago in regards to not over leveraging yourself when you're investing or collecting. In that video, I talk about how it's easy to get caught up on the investing, collecting side of things to the point where you over leverage yourself and you start making irrational decisions. You dig yourself into the hole and you're trying to get yourself out of it, and that sometimes puts you in trouble. In this video I kind of wanted to explore that idea or that concept a little more and throw a little twist to it in regards to the collecting standpoint. So as an investor, as a flipper, you want cards that are more liquid because you're able to turn it over for a profit. And the quicker you could turn it for the profit, the better, especially from a flipper mindset. From an investor standpoint, if you can flip it in the short term, then that's great. But at the same time, you're also thinking about long-term potential. So in that sense, you want those cards that are more liquid, that are easy to sell when you need to sell them. And for the most part, that falls into the category of PSA 10s. Now you can also talk about BGS 95s, SGC 95s or SGC 10s, so on and so forth, those types of cards. But what we're talking about is high grade cards. And in a market that we're in now where PSA is still head honcho, people are looking for those PSA 10s. And now we're even seeing it trickle down to PSA 9s. BGS 95s, like I said in my other videos, BGS 9s, and even to an extent, or even with SGC graded cards, 95s and 9s, there's a lot of value to be had in those other grading companies in those lower grades. Now, what I really want to get at and what I really want to talk about is from a collector standpoint, right? I dabble in both collecting and investing, flipping, whatever you want to call it. And, my whole philosophy or my whole entire thought process, with this sports card market is to buy cards, to flip, to be able to buy cards to invest long term. That's been my whole entire strategy. That's been my whole entire plan. And at the end of the day, those cards that are held for long-term investments get passed on to my son. Along the way, I tend to buy cards that I just love, that the collector in me just wants to buy cards that I really, really like. And a lot of times when you're buying these cards that you like, those cards tend to have some value, because if you like the card, chances are a lot of people will like the card as well. Usually if you stick with your guns and just buy cards that look nice, have great eye appeal of great players, then chances are, like I said, other people will gravitate towards that card and see value in that, and thus increases the demand, causes the card to increase just slightly. It may not jump up to astronomical prices, but you'll get a bump in it. But what I want to talk about is more along the lines of graded cards, because like I said earlier, it's easy to get swept up. It's easy to get caught up in trying to keep up with everybody, keep up with the latest trends, buying those PSA 10s of those cards before those cards increase in value. But before you know it, your money's tied up in those cards. And like I said, that's all from an investor flipper viewpoint. Now, putting on my collector hat and thinking about it from the collecting side of things, a lot of times for me personally as a collector, I'm more interested in the card itself. I want the physical card. I want the card in the best condition possible. Yes, PSA 10, BGS 95s, SGC 95s, SGC 10s are usually the cream of the crop in terms of condition, gem mint, right? Like those types of things. However, because a lot of these cards, like a lot of these high-end cards, great cards that you would love to have in your collection, or that I would love to have in my collection, those PSA 10s, those high-grade cards are already at a value that I cannot afford, right? Or at least not right now. I mean, in order for me to afford those types of cards, I would have to put in a lot of work of flipping and selling and just building a portfolio and flipping and selling in order to obtain said card. That's like, it's similar to what Sasha T has done and what he's been doing since he first started into the sports card market, just working his way up. He started small, started flipping, working his way up. Now he's able to make those deals for those high-end cards. We all can do it. We all have the capability. We all have the ability to do it. It's just, do you want to put the work in, right? It's all about putting in the work. But, as a collector, as much as I would love to have the card in the best grade possible in a PSA 10, it's just not feasible for me at this time. So what do? I tend to focus, and this is where I want to get the message out there in terms of the thought process, is that buy the card in the best grade that is affordable for you. It's a great way not to over leverage yourself in buying a very, very expensive PSA 10 card just because it's a PSA 10 of a card that you love. You know, when you can get a PSA 8 for a way fraction of the cost, and it's still a great looking card. You know, at least that's from my viewpoint. That's the way I see things. That's the way that's the way I buy certain cards. In my Kobe Bryant collection, I have no Kobe Bryant PSA 10 cards at all, because at the time when I was collecting, I couldn't afford those. So I stuck with the 9s because those were affordable. You know, a lot of my cards that I have in my personal collection rarely have any PSA 10s. I mean, I have that PSA 10 Connor McDavid Upper Deck Star Rookies, right? I have that. But even then, like a 1961 Bill Russell PSA 6, 1980 Topps Bird, Magic, Irving, PSA 7, cards that are in lower grades, but those were affordable to me at the time when I bought them. So that's been my whole mindset. That's been my whole thing when I buy cards for my collection, when I buy cards for my PC. And I focus on the cards that have strong eye appeal as well, like cards that are iconic as well, and trying to just buy the best grade affordable to me. So like, for example, the 1955 Topps Sandy Koufax rookie card. That's a card I would love to have in my collection. But the most affordable grade for me would be a PSA 4. And that's even if I sell some of my cards to be able to generate the income or to generate the funds to be able to purchase that. I would love to have a Tom Brady Bowman rookie card or Bowman Chrome rookie card, right? And that's one of my goals in one of my videos that I showed. At one point, I thought a PSA 9 would be available to me or affordable to me, but now that card has shot up. So I'm looking at either a BGS 8.5 or a BGS 8 of the card. A card that's still nice to own, and one that I would love to have in my collection. I mean, of course, you know, I would want it to get in a decent grade or a grade that's respectable. When you're dealing with 90s cards, 90s inserts in particular, especially the rare ones, I don't think there's anything wrong with buying a PSA 8 or buying a PSA 7 of that rare insert. It's just the fact that it's so rare and so hard to come by that why not? You know, if you really want that card, why not put the money down for a PSA 7, PSA 8, have it in your collection? Now, like I said, this is purely from a collector standpoint, in my point of view. You know, we have those collectors that want the best condition possible, and I get that. You still want to get a PSA 9 or PSA 10 of that card in your collection, and I totally get that. But for those who don't have the budget or who don't have the money to be able to purchase those cards at those prices, then the best alternative is actually buying cards in low grade, you know, that you can afford. You know, you'll have a card that you like because it's a card that you've been chasing, regardless of the grade. Sure, one day you will hope to upgrade that card, just like how some of the cards I have, I hope to upgrade one day, but you'll cross that bridge when you get to it. It's all a part of reassessing your collection and seeing how you can trade up. And for me, that's where it comes down to. You know, I love collecting. I love investing in basketball cards or sports cards in general. You know, it's something that's fun. It's a hobby, right? And as a hobby, the collector in me tends to come out, while also I have an investor in me that hopes that some of these cards will gain monetary value over time to be able to pass on to my son. And that's my plan, that's my goal of how I go about things and what my end game is. And a lot of times I always struggle with the whole investor collector mindset because it's two. Right? As much as I love to see my cards gain value over time, there are just cards that I love that won't increase in value over time, but it's just a cool card to have in my collection. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Whether you agree or disagree, you know, sound off in the comments below. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. And if you found value in this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. And with that being said, my name is Josh, and I'll see you guys in the next video later.